السلام عليكم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله محمد سيد الأولين والآخرين مدد يا رسول الله مدد يا سادة الأسطور ولا شاء الله فاز لا سنشاء طريقتنا الصحبة والخير في الجامعية. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وينصرنا الله ما ينصره. صدق الله العظيم. Allah'la beraber olan, Allah'a emrine itaat eden, o daima zafer onundur.
The one who is with Allah Almighty and the one who follows the orders of Allah Almighty will always be victorious.
Ona zarar gelmez.
The one who is with Allah Almighty and follows the orders of Allah Almighty will not experience any harm.
Muhakkak Allah Azze ve Celle'nin vaadi haktır.
Without any doubt, Allah Almighty's promise is truthful.
O vaad muhakkak olur.
And the promise of Allah Almighty is going to happen.
Hiç yani şüphe yok.
Let there be no doubt about the fact that Allah Almighty's promise is going to materialize.
Onun için Allah'la beraber olun. Allah'ın yolunda daim sabit kadem dur.
Therefore, be with Allah Almighty and let your steps be firm and steadfast in following the path of Allah Almighty.
Olmak lazım ki Allah Azze ve Celle sana zaferi
If you are steadfast on the path of Allah Almighty without deviation, then Allah Almighty will grant you victory.
yardımı olsun inşallah.
If you are steadfast in following Allah Almighty's way, then Allah Almighty will send you His support.
İnsanlar sabırsızdır.
People, however, are impatient.
Sabır hemen her şeyi olsun isterler.
People always are impatient and they want things to happen at once.
Allah takdiri nasılsa öyle olur.
But you must know that everything happens by the will of Allah Almighty, and everything happens by the time of Allah Almighty has decreed something to happen.
Zafer imanımızı muhafaza etmektedir.
What is victory? Victory is in preserving and protecting our faith.
En mühim şey odur.
That is the most important thing, to protect our faith.
Şeytana yenilmemektir.
To not be defeated by Shaytan.
Nefsine yenilmemektir.
To not be defeated by one's ego.
Onlara yenilirsen sen kaybetmişsin.
If you let yourself be defeated by Shaytan or your ego, then you have lost.
Onları affedersen sen kazanmış olursun.
But if you are the one who overcomes your ego and Shaytan, then you are the one who is the winner.
Zaferi kazanmış olursun.
And then you will have obtained victory.
Dünya zaferi mühim değil.
It is not so important to obtain a worldly victory.
Mühim olan de Peygamber sallallahu aleyhi ve sellem'in buyurduğu gibi cihad-ı asgardan, yani küçük cihattan büyük cihad küçük.
We must follow the instruction of our beloved Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, who said that we now need to move on from the smaller jihad to the greater jihad.
Cihad savaştır. Odur diyor Peygamber sallallahu aleyhi ve sellem. Büyük cihad ondan sonraki şeydir. Çünkü hayat boyu.
What is the smaller jihad? The smaller jihad is the war you do, and the greater jihad, that is the constant fight against your ego and Shaytan.
Devam eden bir savaş var. İnsan nefsiyle, şeytanla yapar.
There is a fight, a war that continuously will go on, and that war is against your ego and against Shaytan.
Daima cihattadır.
And one must always be aware that one needs to fight one's ego and Shaytan.
Büyük cihattadır. Onu kazandım deyip de bırakmak olmaz.
And that greater jihad is going to go on. Don't think that you have obtained victory in the greater jihad and that you have completed the greater jihad.
Nasıl bırakmak olmaz? Allah Azze ve Celle'nin yolunda ayrılıp ben tamam kazandım, savaşı kazandım.
Therefore, you must continuously follow Allah Almighty's order and observe Allah Almighty's path without ever thinking that you have completed the fight against your ego. You must never think that you have completed the fight against Shaytan.
Artık nefsimi yendim.
Never think or assume that you have managed to finally completely defeat your ego.
Şeytanı yendim diye.
Don't say that you have gained victory over Shaytan and that you have defeated Shaytan.
Durursan anında o dediğin zaten senin kaybetmen demektir.
The moment you think this way and the moment you assume that you have defeated your ego and you have defeated Shaytan, that is actually the moment, and that very thought is the proof that you actually have lost against Shaytan and your ego.
Her şeyi kaybetmen demektir. Onun için
The moment you think that you have defeated Shaytan and your ego, and that thought is the sign of you having lost against them.
daima büyük cihat dedi. Onun için büyük cihat hayat boyu sürdüğü için peygamber
And that is why our beloved Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, described the fight against the ego and Shaitan as the greater jihad, the great war, because it continuously goes on.
sallallahu aleyhi ve sellem cihad-ı ekber demiş. Büyük cihat, büyük savaş odur.
Jihadul Akbar, the greater war, the greater jihad, that is the fight and war that we have to wage and constantly wage against our ego and Shaitan.
Son nefese kadar bu savaş Allah bizden olsun.
That war against our ego and Shaitan will continue up until our last breath, and may Allah Almighty be on our side in that war against Shaitan and our ego,
Onun yolundayız inşallah.
and may we follow the path of Allah Almighty.
Allah yardımcımız olsun.
And may Allah Almighty support us in following His way.
ومن الله توفيق. الفاتحة.